Hello, fifth grade. So, what you guys are going to do is create the background for your spaceman. Remember that you just finished drawing in your sketchbook. The size of your spaceman should fill up your paper, and you did the draw along with the Art for Kids Hub, and then we'll put that on Shrinkadinks later. So, what you guys are creating is your galaxy paper, okay? So, with your markers that you should have in your booklet, whether it's skinny markers or your chunky markers, that's fine. With your skinny markers, you may want to just do a little bit more wider lines when you start to color. So here is what I'm going to suggest. Of course, you're welcome to try some different patterns, because once we add the water and these start swirling around like watercolor paints, it'll look just fine. Okay, so everything will kind of come together. So what I did is I picked a couple of colors that I know would be kind of out in outer space. So I have my black, gray, blue, purple, and then some pink. And that just kind of adds a little bit to this to make it a little lighter. So what I'm going to do is kind of do like a tie-dye effect. So it kind of starts in the middle and then works its way out. This one that I showed you, I did kind of like in an S pattern. So you can kind of see that I started off with gray, and then I went around it with a little bit of blue and then a little bit of purple, and then I added a little bit of pink in there, so you can't even really see it. It just kind of lightens it up a little bit, so it just kind of looks like more like space dust. Okay, and then added my black in the middle. So I'm gonna go ahead and start with my pink first on this one. And I just use the side of my marker. Of course, if you're using the skinny markers, it'll be more like this, and that's okay. So once you do that, I don't want you to have to use up all of your marker, but once you have that, just make sure that you use a little bit more water, and I'll show you here in a minute. So I'll just add a few little kind of skinnier areas, okay? So it kind of looks like a little fuzz ball there. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and go in with the purple, and I'm going to let those kind of overlap. Because in outer space, you know, you've got the dust kind of floating around, and things kind of still cluster because of gravitational pull from other planets. I'm sure you guys have been talking about this with your solar systems, universe, planets. And our little astronaut, he'll be floating around. And then we'll make little planets based off of some scrap, beautiful scrap colored painted paper that we used last year for when we did our paintings. And I'm going to add just a little bit. Actually, I'm going to go with black, and then I'll do gray. So I'm going to let the black. Remember, I told you guys the black is just a really dark blue, so it looks a little bit more like teal when we add water to it. So if you wanted to do like 2 areas or 3 areas that kind of have a little starburst pattern kind of going out, that's fine. But I am overlapping these, letting the colors kind of meet up in the middle, and then I'm going to end with the gray. And that also just kind of lightens up. Again, you got a lot of like blue tones in these grays and black because of how they make the markers. So next time I see you, we will put our astronaut onto Shrinkadink paper by copying it, because it is see-through and it's plastic and you'll be able to see your drawing. All right, so now here's what you have. Over on the paint cart, there are already pre-filled waters with paintbrushes. Okay, so please return those table by table so no one has to trip over anyone else and water does not spill. Okay, so if you have already done your coloring, please make sure that your name is on the back of your paper, class code. Okay, then flip it back over, make sure that you have a tray. All right, so the sub will make sure that the trays are also on the paint cart. They are stacked. You will use the small tray and have that under this, because this can get a little messy and get a little leaky, and so you don't want to carry this wet sopping paper over to the drying rack, okay? Because this is what you're gonna do. So I'm gonna go ahead and get my water. Always make sure that you're holding it if you are taking a little bit of the water off the edge, so that way it does not spill on you, anything else. It should remain on the tray, because if it spills, it's okay. because it's in the tray. So I'm going to go ahead and work from my middle out. So you're hydrating these colors, you can already see. And you guys don't need to rub too hard because it will make, see, it's paint. It's paint. It's just paint in a tube. It will make holes in your paper. Now this is special watercolor paper, so it's a little tougher, but you can already see, look, awesome. See how this is already kind of blending? So when you go to do your little skinny markers, try to make sure that you take up some good space. You can see how these are blending. Oh my goodness, I love this so much. When this dries, we'll also have, we'll spray on some stars or asteroid dust, whichever ones that you want to claim them as being. So we'll spray on some little white paint, and then I'll make those little dots kind of look like stars far away. So you can kind of take this, let it drip. Then you're going to get more of that kind of watercolor effect. So make sure you're pushing it to the edge. You're taking some of this leftover color here, push it out to your edge. You don't want the little lines to really be still showing, like it's streaky. You want it to look like it's floating with the space atmosphere. Zero gravity. Although if something explodes, you can technically still see it in that same position because of light years. So it may already be diffused, but by the time that we see it, it's still going. Okay, so that is completed. So you can see the difference right here and kind of the S pattern or the tie-dye pattern where it's almost like a firework and comes out. So those are two different ways. So when you're done with this, go put it in the drying rack. Okay, this returns back over on the paint tray, and those will be rinsed and used for another class. You don't need to do that. You just need to return it to the paint tray. Okay? All right, so good deal. Make sure everything's cleaned up. Wipe up tables if you need to. Sprays and wipes are also on the paint cart. All right, have a good day.